What do you think your inner being holds as memory about anything? What do you think your inner being remembers? Your inner being doesn't remember, and you don't either. We are all transmitting and receiving mechanism. And so your inner being is not remembering, your inner being is tuning. And what do you think your inner being is tuned to? You think your inner being is tuned to how you got to where you are? Do you think your inner being is even tuned to the what isness of what is happening right now? What's your inner being tuned to? Just take a guess. What do you think your inner being is tuned to? Your inner being is tuned to your vortex. Your inner being is tuned to the vibrational nowness of what's there, to the becoming of all of that. That's what your inner being is tuned to. So nothing that has been before is what your inner being is tuned to. Now here's an important question. How did this now that your inner being is tuned to, how did it come about? From past experience. So everything that you have lived equals what is now there, but this is the evolved, most forward part of it. You see what we're getting at? Your inner being is focused upon the leading edgeness of that which you are, never justifying, never remembering, just tuned. Do you realize the importance of that? Can you feel how emphatically we are wanting you to feel that? Your inner being is tuned to the wholeness, to the bigness, most expansion of that which you are. That's what your inner being is tuned to. So in a moment of really tuning to what your inner being knows about you, if you are really tuned to it, you will forget everything that has been before, except as it exists in the powerful now. Stay with us because this is so important. You've been listening to us for a while talking about what it's like when you reemerge into non-physical. Yes, you're following us. And we talked to you about how you leave behind all doubt and fear and everything that you've ever worried about, all problems, and what goes with you. You reemerge into the fullness of all that you are. Can you feel that that's what your vortex is? It's the fullness of all that you are. And that when you have practiced staying in your lane, when you've practiced caring about the way you feel, when you've fine-tuned your frequency so that law of attraction doesn't serve up for you those things that are not of a vibrational nature of who you really are. Can you see how not only would you forget them, can you see how you can be? Oh, get ready for this. We really want you to feel it with the full impact that we're wanting to give it to you. We're ready to rock your world just a little bit. Can you feel how it can help you to forget who you've been? Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if you could forget who you've been and only be the magnificent results that you now are? Jerry and Esther met a woman who was a teacher of language, and she said, we have a process that works so well. And when they walk in, we assign all of them a new name and a new place of birth and a new date of birth and a new occupation. And no one in the room knows any different. Everyone is new as they come together in this room. And those who follow through with that and will really play that game of re-identification learned language 5 to 10 times faster than those who bring their old prejudices about themselves to the classroom. It was only those who were really willing to give up their identity, their prejudices against themselves, their habits of thought that were in the way, that were preventing them from being new in this moment, like their inner being is new in this moment. You often speak of children and how formative they are, how this is when their brain is having its most growth in those early years. And we say, there's no reason for it not to be exactly like that for you today. Your now is as powerful as the now of anyone who has ever lived, you see. And the only thing that keeps it as being as powerful as any now that you've ever lived are the habits of thought that you've dragged from the past into your now, which no longer have relevancy as far as your inner being is concerned. And so the more you hold to the past and the more you try to explain where you came from and who you are, the more you separate yourself from who you really are, from who your inner being knows you to be, because your inner being doesn't remember when you were afraid as a child or when you were guilty as a teenager. Your inner being doesn't remember any of those things. Your inner being doesn't remember anything receiving, your inner being is only active in your now. And you know what your inner being is actively focused upon? The relationship between where you are right now and what your vortex is. That's the sweet spot. That's the only thing that your inner being is focused upon. And when you focus otherwise, to some degree or another, you diminish the power of who you are now. And so those who know you, much of the world that you live in is not understanding what you have just now come to understand. But consider this, most of them are not that interested in you anyway. Really. And if you will be less interested in trying to get them to understand who you were, and more interested in letting them take you on as you are now, how do you want to be in the world now? How do you want to be in the world? Do you want to be uplifting or criticizing? It's an easy question, isn't it? How do you want to be in the world? And what you will begin to notice is they will perceive you as you perceive you. They will perceive you as you perceive you. You cannot use your words of explanation to counteract how you are projecting in this moment. All of your power is now. Now couple that, oh, and you received that well. We felt you do it. Couple that with how your inner being feels about you. Now add to that who your inner being is and what your inner being knows, and feel the energy that creates worlds flowing through you, all focused upon you and your powerful now. Is it any wonder that your moments are more laced with wonderful things, that more wonderful people are coming into your experience, that you're happy and more lighthearted, that you can accomplish a lot more with a lot less, that life is getting easier and easier for you, that the things that you've been asking for are flowing into your experience, that effort is a sort of word that no longer applies to you, that ease and flow is the way it feels to you, that a sense of worthiness is the way you know yourself to be, that you feel blessed because the universe is showing you how many ways it can shower these blessings upon you now that you've lowered your umbrella and are no longer shielding yourself from the goodness that you've already put into your vortex that is showering down all around you. Don't you love being in this physical body? Don't you want to feel about this moment in time the way your inner being feels? Isn't it good to know about yourself what your inner being knows about you? Don't you love knowing that every aspect of your body, every cellular part of your being, the trillions of cells, don't you like knowing their connection to source energy and the dance that they are doing, the harmonic dance? The vibrational frequency of your body is varied, and your source is aware of all of that. And when you tune to the frequency of joy and happiness, then you allow well-being to radiate through you. Hello, Abraham. I am finding my way to feeling better and better. Well, that's just what we were talking about. I have a question I've pondered for some time. While I now understand that I can't create in anyone else's experience and they can't create in mine, I'm wondering what prayer is and the purpose or value of prayer. If I can't support another in bringing about their want by praying for them, how can I best support them? Well, there's a flawed premise there, because you definitely do support others when you pray for them. But we want to clarify something. There's a misunderstanding about prayer. And those of you who have been listening to us for a while, you'll understand what we're getting at easily here. We've been talking about this emotional scale, vibrational emotional scale, and how on the lower end of the scale, the not good, so good feeling end, there are emotions or feelings like insecurity or fear. And at the highest that we have identified with words, end of the scale, there are feelings like love and appreciation. And so, starting with that premise, just softly in the back of your mind, we want to say to you, people have asked us about prayer over time, and they want to know what is the best way to pray. And we've answered this question this way to them on many occasions, but we want to say it to you in relationship with what you are now understanding about the emotional scale and what we just caused you to think about it. If you are offering your prayer from those lower, not good feeling vibrations, from your neediness, then your point of attraction is not allowing you to hear the answers that are being offered to you. Every prayer is answered. The question is, can you hear the answer? And if you are offering your prayer from the lower part of the vibrational scale, then you're not going to hear the answers. Where if you are praying from those upper good feeling emotions, now you are more likely to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on, where you will hear, you will be the receiver of. Now remember, it's attraction, attraction, attraction. So when you're holding someone as your object of attention, as you're offering a prayer, and you're praying from an attitude of appreciation or love, rather than from an attitude of fear or worry, can you feel how the difference in what your tuning would be, and therefore the difference in what you would be calling to yourself while you're focused upon them? We said to Esther a few weeks ago, if you will think, when you're wanting to be of value to another, you're wanting to uplift them or be a positive influence to them, include them with yourself and use terminology such as we or us. So when you pray from your place of appreciation and you are attracting or hearing from the perspective or we or us, you include them, the object of your attention, into your attraction, and they unquestioningly are receiving benefit from what you are about. Now, can you adjust their vibration? No, but you can influence it, and that's what we just described to you. In other words, the best thing that you can do for any other, because you're right, we have said it and we continue to say it, you can't create in their reality, but you can create in your own with such clarity and such, therefore, power that you then can attract from them to you. That's where the us or the we comes in. You getting the sense of what we're talking about? Play with this a little bit and see how powerful your influence is when you are focused on anyone or anything from those top good feeling emotions on the emotional scale.